Hello, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed your long weekend. Since we didn't do a chapter today, I spent the entire day in the classroom. I cleaned out all of the desks and then moved all of your things into Kroger bags, wrote your name on them, cleaned out your book bins, found a bunch of library books, and then took them to the gym, where I had to put them in alphabetical order all around the gym. So, needless to say, poor old Mrs. Bramlage is tired, and my back hurts really bad, but I'm never too tired for the BFG. You guys know this is my favorite Roald Dahl book. Okay, when we left off, it's been a while. The first chapter is about a little girl named Sophie who lives in an orphanage. And an orphanage is a place where kids go when their parents are not fit to take care of them and they don't have any other family. So if I was being a bad mommy and Greg was being a bad daddy and I don't have any family, Wyatt and Nolan would go to an orphanage. And there are people there to take care of them. Sophie doesn't sleep at night. So at 3 a.m., she knows that that's the witching hour and not to look outside. That you see like creepy things. So all of her friends told her. Well, sure enough, when she looked outside at 3 a.m. that night, she did see something creepy. Now, here's the very last paragraph of chapter 1. Sophie allowed her eye to travel further and further down the street. Suddenly, she froze. There was something coming up the street on the opposite side. It was something black, something tall and black, something very tall and very black and very thin. Okay, I hope that jogs your memory and you remember now where we left off. Who is the next chapter? Chapter 2. It wasn't a human. It couldn't be. It was 4 times as tall as the tallest human. It was so tall its head was higher than the upstairs windows of the houses. Sophie opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Her throat, like her whole body, was frozen with fright. This was the witching hour, all right. The tall black figure was coming her way. It was keeping very close to the houses across the street, hiding in the shadowy places where there's no moonlight. On and on it came, nearer and nearer, but it was moving in spurts. It would stop, then it would move on, then it would stop again. What on earth was it doing? Sophie could see now what it was up to. It was stopping in front of each house. It would stop and peer into the upstairs window of each house in the street. Peer means look. It actually had to bend down to peer inside or into the upstairs windows. That's how tall it was. It would stop and peer in. Then it would slide onto the next house and stop again and peer in, and so on all along the street. It was much closer now, and Sophie could see it more clearly. Looking at it carefully, she decided it had to be some kind of person. Obviously, it was not a human, but it was definitely a person. A giant person, perhaps. Sophie stared hard across the misty moonlight street. The giant, if that was what he was wearing a long black cloak. And cloak means like a really long, like, jacket. In one hand, he was holding what looked like a very long, thin trumpet. In the other hand, he held a large suitcase. The giant had stopped now right in front of Mr. and Mrs. Gucci's house. The Gucci's had a green grocer's shop in the middle of the high street, and the family lived above the shop. The 2 Gucci children slept in the upstairs front room. Sophie knew that. The giant was peering through the window into the room where Michael and Jane Gucci were sleeping. From across the street, Sophie watched. She held her breath. She saw the giant step back a pace and put a suitcase down on the pavement. He bent over and opened the suitcase. He took something out of it. It looked like a glass jar, one of those square ones with the screwed on top. He unscrewed the top of the jar and poured what was in the jar into the long end of the trumpet thing. Sophie watched, trembling. That means she was shaking. She saw the giant straighten up again, and then she saw him poke the trumpet in through the open upstairs window of the room where the Gucci children were sleeping. She saw the giant take a deep breath and he blew through the trumpet. There's the picture. That's all she could see. No noise came out, but it was obvious to Sophie that whatever had been in that jar had now been blown through the trumpet into the Gucci children's bedroom. What could it be? As the giant withdrew the trumpet from the window and bent down to pick up the suitcase, he happened to turn his head and glance across the street. In the moonlight, Sophie caught a glimpse of an enormous, long, pale, wrinkly face with the most enormous ears. The nose was as sharp as a knife, and above the nose there were two bright, flashing eyes, and the eyes were staring straight at Sophie. There was a fierce and devilish look about them. Sophie gave a yelp and pulled back from the window. She flew across the dormitory and jumped into the bed and hid under the blanket. And there she crouched, still as a mouse, and tingling all over. That's the end of the chapter. The next chapter is called The Snatch. Unfortunately, you can't watch any of the movie tonight with this book, with that chapter, because that entire chapter is not in the movie. And boys and girls, that's why Mrs. Bramlage always says the book is better than the movie, because you get more. Have a good night. See you tomorrow night for chapter 3, The Snatch. Look for the comprehension questions in the comments below.